presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
Hey, welcome to the home of the 2017 All-Star Game. It's Marlins Park, just shy of South Beach in Miami, Florida, as Fox Sports Ohio brings you Cincinnati Reds baseball. Tonight, the Reds continue their four-city road trip at Miami, taking on the Marlins. Hi, hello, and welcome to Miami, everyone. Low in the crafty left turner, Chris Wedge and Jim Day. I'm George Grand. Well, the Reds continue their road trip. The Marlins just get off a road trip, and boy, did they end it the right way. 22 hits, 22 runs last night, Chris.
When's the last time you've seen a team score 22 runs? It took over 4 hours for them to do that. That means when they got back to Miami, it was nearly 5:30 in the morning. They didn't sleep very much last night, but they've got to be happy with the way that they were able to put runs and hits on the board yesterday.
A lot of franchise records and a big swing from the big guy. Giancarlo Stanton got a little bit of revenge after he was struck out by Jason Grilli the night before. Last night, boy, did he drill one. Home run number 33. That's the leader in the National League. He drilled a big one, and in July, he's been big, Chris, 12 homers.
Well, he's big all the time, George. I mean, he's strong. He's intimidating. He didn't do a whole lot when the Marlins were in Cincinnati. They were able to keep him silent. Keeping him silent for a long series like this, though, is a very tough thing to do.
Well, the Reds were able to keep the big hitters in check for the most part, Giancarlo Stanton at least, when they were in town in Cincinnati. Very seldom you see it, but we're getting a repeat performance from two pitchers. Robert Stevenson goes for the Reds, Chris O'Grady for Miami.
And it happened very recently. It was just so last Saturday, so not very much time has been spent. A lot of hitters will remember what each of these pitchers did to them. 5 1/3 innings for Robert Stevenson. Not a great outing. Not a great outing either for Chris O'Grady, who walked 6 batters. He blamed it on the humidity. Well, memo to Chris O'Grady, is humid here in Miami as well. But you got to figure that both of these guys are looking to rebound a little bit on their last performance.
Hey, Chris, you come to South Beach and to Miami. You like to go good fishing? Well, what do we need to do for good fishing for Robert Stevenson?
Well,
that's coming up.
Good Marlins fishing anyway is what we're talking about. He's got plenty of arm. He averages 95 miles an hour with that fastball. His curveball's been very effective. In fact, the last time he did pitch against the Marlins, they chased a lot of pitches outside of the strike zone. Most all of those curves. We'll see if he'll do the same thing with that tonight.
So it's Stevenson against O'Grady. That's coming up next. And coming up next, South Beach, Jim Day. He'll be igniting the offense like the two guys at the top of these two teams. It's Billy Hamilton and Dee Gordon going head-to-head next.
Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio is brought to you by Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good. It's Skyline time. Not far from South Beach. We are in South Florida. First of 4, Miami Marlins, Cincinnati Reds coming up. If you like speed, you'll like this game, you'll like this series. 2 of the fastest, if not the fastest 2 guys in baseball, and both leading off for each team, and both have been swinging a good bat in July. Billy Hamilton, 306 average in July. On base percentage higher than that, and 10 stolen bases. For Miami, Dee Gordon, 311 average in July, 340 on base percentage, and 7 stolen bases. Each trying to set the table for their teams. You look at our Alk and Elk storylines, and first inning this season, although each are not setting the world on fire and reaching base in the first inning, the key is when they do get on, more times than not, they score. The Reds have had trouble getting out to early leads. They'll look to do that tonight against the Fish. Coming up, who's in, who's out, lineups and first pitch. George Grant and Chris Welsh with the call on Fox Sports Ohio.
The 2017 All-Star game took place. The Reds making their post All-Star visit here, their lone trip into Miami this year after facing the Marlins last week back in Cincinnati. Let's check the starting lineup for Brian Price and the Cincinnati Reds, trying to right the ship on this road trip that started in Cleveland with a loss, 2 losses in New York, 4 games here in Miami, a day off on Monday, and then 3 games in Pittsburgh. Here's your Menard starting lineup. Billy Hamilton will lead it off. Hamilton's been hot post All-Star play. Eugenio Suarez batting behind him. Joey Votto, a couple of hits yesterday, got his average back to 299. Adam Duvall had a 3-run home run to give the Reds a little bit of hope late in the game against the Yankees yesterday. Scooter, Jeanette, Schebler, Peraza, Barnhart, and Stevenson, the pitcher, will bat in the number 9 position for Brian Price. For the Reds, Chris, a long road trip, yes, and for the Marlins, unbelievable way to end a road trip. A road trip that saw them pile up 22 hits and 22 runs yesterday. They got back into town late this morning when they left Texas, and these are 2 teams that were happy to get to Miami. The Reds just to take a breather, and the Marlins just to start a 7-game homestand.
Oh, you're right for the Marlins, George, but they've come back here with a little bit less than full strength. They put a few guys on the disabled list here recently. Justin Bour, the big first baseman who did some damage against the Reds in Cincinnati, that left-handed hitter is on the disabled list. He'll be out a month. Kyle Bearclaw, who has been a guy that took over for David Phelps. Phelps was traded, so he's no longer here. Bearclaw's on the DL, and so is their young, very talented shortstop T.J. Riddle. So even though they're a little bit shorthanded, they were able to put a lot of offense on the board there in Texas against the Rangers.
Those numbers boosted up. You see the 5.3 runs per game with the 22 runs scored on the road in Texas last night. They have been overall, though, better on the road, hitting 285 away from home, 248 here, and their extra base hits about 50 more on the road than here. Overall, at home, they're 22 and 26. The Reds are over 500 at home, 25 and 28. And on the road, they play better, 24 and 27. This Marlins team only 3 games under 500. And that's where the roads have failed dismally. 16 and 32 on the road are the Reds, trying to right the ship here in Miami. And talk about a guy who's been righting the ship post All-Star. Billy Hamilton has, making better contact, getting the top of the order ignited. And the one similarity between these two clubs, because there are a few similarities, but the biggest, they both rely on the guy at the top of their order. When Gordon and Hamilton get going, these two offenses get going.
Yeah, you're right. And the Reds have been waiting for Billy Hamilton to kind of begin to get it. People ask me when they see me, they say, well, you know, is the light finally coming on for Billy Hamilton? And I say, well, that light is a dimmer, and it doesn't come either on or off. It comes a little bit at a time, a little bit more, as he understands what he needs to do in the batter's box, strike zone management, employing the bunt when he can, pulling the ball when he has to. But he's got more and more confidence every day, and he's playing, I think, the best baseball of the year right now.
And Billy will face a guy he saw last week. That's Chris O'Grady, as O'Grady and Stevenson will face each other for the second time in 2 weeks. 6'4", 225 pounds, a native of New York. O'Grady, 27 years of age, will, for the first time in his career, face a team in back-to-back starts.
Well, he's a really nice young man, O'Grady was. We got to know him when he was in with the Reds in spring training a couple of years ago, 2015. Reds grabbed him Rule 5 from the Angels. They ended up returning him back to the Angels when he didn't make the roster. They thought that he would be used as a lefty specialist, but his stuff doesn't really line up for that. Everything he throws really cuts into a right-hander.
Well, Billy digs in. He had his 4-game hitting streak snapped yesterday, 0 for 4, but he's hit in 10 of 12 since the All-Star break. Overall, 2 homers, 26 knocked in, and a league-leading 43 stolen bases. Slice to the right side, given chases Moore, and he will not be able to hold on. He had a glove on it, but the fan hit the glove and knocked the ball out, and Dee Gordon slaps his glove down as if saying, hey, you're our fan, give us some help here. Now, if you're in the stands, you have a right to that ball. Watch Dee here. Hey, man. So a new life for Billy Hamilton. Showing bunt. It's up high.
On a 2-strike count. How about that? I mean, if you're going to fake it with 2 strikes, you got to be able to lay it down. And the best way to do that is not be moving when you're in the batter's box.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Turnabout fair play. Dee Gordon dropped a 2-strike bunt on the Reds last week, so Billy trying to pull one out of his pocket here.
Okay, I had the count wrong. Then so did our Fox box, and so did the scoreboard here. So now he's got 2 strikes on him.
Line right center field. Giancarlo Stanton there, and he'll haul it in. There's your 4th defensive alignment for the Miami Marlins. They are 4th in the league with 42 errors. An outstanding defensive team. They've gotten better defensively. Osuna, Yelich, Stanton, solid defensively, as well as a home run hitter. But the changes in the infield. Gordon's the only guy who's been there all year. Dietrich, of course, back at 3rd. Rojas and Moore at short and at 1st. And Real Muto behind the plate. That's your 4 defensive alignment. Here's Eugenio Suarez. That's a strike on the outside corner. Says Alan Porter, the home plate umpire. Crew chief and the veteran Joe West is at 1st. Hunter Wendelstad at 2nd, and Andy Fletcher, your 3rd base umpire. That's a bullet in the left, a base hit for Suarez. So Eugenio gives the Reds their first hit. 1 out, 1 on, and here's Joey.
They want to get as many hot guys at the top of the order as possible when Cozart is not playing. So that's why Suarez, who's been swinging the bat much better, moves up in front of Joey Votto. 2 batters, 2 line drives so far against O'Grady.
Zach Cozart is hopeful of taking some ground balls tomorrow. See how that quad muscle feels. He aggravated it in New York, pinch hitting and first trying to leg out an infield ground ball and then going from first to third. Grady delivers. Votto sends it to left. Back is Osuna. He'll haul it in at the warning track, and there's your second out. And if all goes okay, with no ill effects from tomorrow's workout, there's a good chance that he may play this weekend one of the 2 games, either Saturday or Sunday, and they have Monday off, and that's the hopeful side of it. But as we've said right along, and Jim Day, you've been on top of it, you know, the hope is that he gets a little bit better, but this is an injury that's not going to go away till the season's over. Here's Adam, hit his 21st homer yesterday at 21 homers, 68 knocked in. Hitting in the cleanup spot today. Scooter Gennett is on deck. Short lead down at first for Eugenio Suarez. They built this park, opened it in 2012. It took about 4 years of work before they finally culminated in 2012. Opened it in April of 2012. Hosted their first All-Star game this month. Miami was buzzing. And all the players and everyone from the Reds, you know, Joey Votto, Zach Cozart, all the people who were part of the festivity said they did just a remarkable job, and fans are great. The experiences everybody finds, Chris, just like it was in Cincinnati, it's a special experience for whatever city hosts it.
I think the difference, though, with the cities, George, being Miami as big as it is, and given the fact that there isn't a venue right near the stadium like there is in Cincinnati, that things are really spread out quite a bit. It was a great All-Star celebration, no doubt. I still think you've got to go a long way to beat the way the Reds were able to host that All-Star game a couple of years ago.
That's ball 4, 2 on for the Reds with 2 outs. Everything in Cincinnati was walkable, and all the major league people who came down to Cincinnati for the All-Star game when they first got involved in it wondered what it would be like, and everyone is different. I mean, Minnesota was different, Miami is different, and every city does the best that they can to make it unique. And from a Red standpoint, I'm still running into people from Major League Baseball who were so impressed by not just the way the Reds handled it, but by the way everyone in Cincinnati welcomed folks who came to town. Here's Scooter, 18 homers. With 2 on, the Reds trying to get a lead early.
You can kind of see O'Grady's style of pitching. He's not overpowering. He doesn't have the typical left-hander sink where the ball runs away from right-handers and turns over a little bit. Everything he throws is either straight or kind of cuts into a righty or away from a lefty.
Hit pretty good to right field, going back. Stanton looking up at the wall. He'll haul it in. About 5 feet short of homer number 19 for Scooter. Robert Stevenson will take the mound, facing O'Grady for the 2nd time in a week. Scoreless to the bottom of 1. Chief, and there's the leadoff hitter for this Miami Marlins club, Dee Gordon. Let's check the Menard starting lineup. He gets a fist pump from Perry Hill, his first base coach. Gordon will lead it off. He comes in with 36 stolen bases at a solid .291 average. Giancarlo Stanton moved up to the #2 spot. Christian Yelich will hit third. Osuna, an all-star performer like Stanton, hits in the #4 spot. Real Muto, Dietrich, Moore, Rojas, and O'Grady. And on the mound for the Reds, Robert Stevenson faces the Marlins again. Chris.
Well, you know, the Reds are taking a long look at Robert Stevenson. What he did in the minor leagues, which is really control his pitches, throw more strikes down there, has warranted his call up. And it's not going to be one of these, hey, we'll take a look at you this week and see what you do, and then we'll decide whether we're going to give you another start. He's in the starting rotation for the near-term future. So I think that should, in it by itself, calm his nerves a little bit so he doesn't feel like he's pitching up against the wall.
One step in on the grass is Suarez. You always have to be there with the speedy Gordon, good bunter at the plate. He's been hot just like Hamilton since the All-Star break, hitting over 300. And 7 of his 36 stolen bases have come in the last week and a half. When he's right, he's a real igniter. 3-0. There's a strike.
Well, that's a hard thing to do right there, is walk Dee Gordon. He just doesn't take a lot of strikes. His batting average and his on-base percentage very close together because he's only drawn 17 walks this year. That's in over 400 plate appearances.
And just like Reds fans, keep an eye on Billy Hamilton when he gets on first. Same story for these Marlins fans. They'll keep an eye on Gordon, who, you know that there's a great competition between Gordon and Billy Hamilton. They have great respect for each other, and when they play against each other, it kind of spurs both of them on.
Well, right now is still one of the shortcomings in the total game of Robert Stevenson. He's been trying to become more compact to the plate. You've got to be really compact to stop a guy like Gordon.
And he's got the big guy at the plate. He gets a big break. The throw will
what a
be
throw
time.
by
What
Barnhart.
a job
Man.
by Barnhart. What a rifle shot from Barnhart. What a break by Gordon. It looked like he had almost a 1.5-step break before the pitch is delivered. But watch this throw. We'll see if the Marlins will challenge it.
Don Mattingly holding him up right there with his hand out to Alan Porter. But, you know, whether he's out or safe in the long run, that throw by Barnhart is one of the better ones you're going to see all year long. That guy is getting it done and under the radar. Very underappreciated.
Yeah, you talk about the way maybe fans look at it or people around baseball. You go into clubhouse after clubhouse, and, you know, Joe Girardi, a former catcher when we were in New York, he's noticed Tucker Barnhart. One of the things he was remarking about a couple of the Reds players that he's watched while watching TV and just watching video, he said, boy, your catcher is some kind of a competitor, isn't he? And that coming from Joe Girardi, that's a pretty good stand.
Yeah, you're right. Well, he knows his catching, obviously. It's funny, though, because it seemed like big league teams, including the Reds, make their minds up early on a guy. And I heard for years that Tucker Barnhart, when he was in the minor leagues, was just too small to be an everyday catcher. He'll just never hold up to the wear and tear of catching, you know, on a full-time basis. Well, until you get the catch full-time and prove them otherwise. Fundamentally solid, works with pitchers.
Back-to-back walks, this one to Giancarlo Stanton, so 1 out, 1 on. And let's check your forward defensive alignment for the Reds, who come in third in the National League Defensive League. It committed 2 miscues yesterday that hurt them against the Yankees. Now 51 errors on the year. Duvall, Hamilton, Schebler as usual across the outfield. Suarez, Peraza, Scooter, Gennett, and Votto across the infield, and Tucker behind the plate. That's your forward defensive alignment. Peraza still playing short with Zach Cozart out of the lineup once again today. Here's Yelich, 291, 11 homers, 52 knocked in. Another one of those guys who's had a pretty good month of July. Giancarlo Stanton has 12 homers in July. Number 12 came last night and number 33 on the year. And for Yelich, he's tied for 4th in the National League with 30 hits this month. And is hitting over 350 during the month. That's got his average up nearly to 300 again.
What?
One away, Stanton on first, middle of the Reds infield, double play depth, and Suarez pulled way off the bag at third. From the stretch, Stevenson. Down and in for a ball.
Hey, one of the things we have here at Marlins Park, George, is a little different perspective from the center field camera. The camera angle here, we're showing it to you right now, although it's not exactly behind the pitcher's mound lined up over second base, you wouldn't be able to see much that way, but it gives you a lot better perspective of the strike zone than, you know, some other places where you have that camera angled off a little bit more towards left center field.
Looped into center. Billy's there. He'll glove it. Stand will retreat to first. There's your second out of the inning. And here comes Osuna. Marcel, another one of those that made it to the All-Star game, got a great ovation from the fans here and has become a real fan favorite. Great month of July for him. 23 runs batted in the month. That's second in the National League, and is in the top 3 slots in just about every category offensively for National League left fielders, and for that matter, Major League left fielders.
He had a big night last night in that 22-run game.
Who didn't?
You're right. 3 hits, 5 ribbies. He did not do a lot, really, in that series against the Reds in Cincinnati. And what I've seen out of Ozuna, I mean, he's a very powerful hitter, but he chases a lot.
Fourth year in the major leagues. Native of the Dominican Republic. He rips this one to left. Diving effort. What a catch by Duvall. Adam Duvall, 2 quick steps at a dive, and he hauls in what would have been at least a double and certainly a run producing hit. Duvall does it, and we're still scoreless. Better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, get a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Boy, talk about helping your pitcher out. Tucker Barnhart, a bullet throw, nails Dee Gordon trying to steal, and then what a catch by Adam Duvall. That end result saves a couple of runs in the first inning. So we're still scoreless. Here comes Schebler. The Reds stranded a pair in the first. Schebler, Peraza, Barnhart due up here in the second. What? Schebler in at .234 on the season. Dribble to the right side, but foul. And in the first base coach's box, as usual, Freddy Benavidez for the Cincinnati Reds, and down at third for the Reds, Billy Hatcher. Well, some guys have been hot since the All-Star break. Schebler has struggled since the All-Star break. 3 for 38 at .079. And he's retired here for the first out of the second inning.
For Scott Schebler, it's really been a woeful month of July. Batting average under 150, and what you're seeing now is him chasing more pitches. They're very typical of players in slumps, but especially young players, that, you know, the word is you got to hit your way out of a slump, and sometimes you start swinging at pitches that aren't your pitches. You expand the zone and you become even an easier out.
And somewhat of a similar refrain for the guy at the plate now, Jose Peraza. Every place he's been throughout his career, he's hit, and he hit great at the start of the season, but he's in a funk of late. This one he bloops into left for a base hit. So the Red shortstop for tonight picks up Cincinnati's second hit. 1 out, 1 on. Here comes Barnhart.
Have that little cutter. I think for Chris O'Grady wanted to get that in a little bit more, and Peraza was able to get it on. Now the question is, are you going to try to push the running game a little bit? Peraza's got some wheels, but has not been on base really enough for us to recognize him as a serious running threat.
Second on the club with 15 stolen bases behind Billy. Barnhart at .258, 3 homers, 16 knocked in.
What?
The advantage to the hitter or the pitcher, and you face each other twice in a week span, Chris?
I think the more a hitter sees a pitcher, the advantage swings more towards the hitter.
Runner not going. That's on the corner for a strike. 0-2. That's start, which was against Stevenson. 4 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned. 6 walks in that ball game.
And boy, did he wiggle out of some jams. In 4 2/3, he had 10 base runners.
Off the plate, a high bouncer in the middle of the infield. They won't get an out at second, but they will get one at first. Good decision by Rojas. He had no chance to get the speedy Peraza as that Baltimore chop hit the plate, went high in the air over the pitcher's mound, and that's the only play they had.
Well, Rojas has been around. He's a smart player. He also knows the Reds are down at the bottom of the order. So you got the pitcher coming up. The important thing is you get an out somewhere so that you don't get too greedy. Try to turn a double play, don't get any out, and then you end up having to turn the lineup over eventually in this inning.
So here's Robert. Stevenson does have 1 hit on the year. That came back in May in that long game in San Francisco. Won't get another one here as O'Grady takes care of it. The Reds strand another. They've stranded 3. To the bottom of 2 we go.
franchise teams in baseball, but our big story today, man, did they take it on the chin today, and the Nationals were swinging it. Franchise record 8, count them, 8 home runs in a 15-2 win over the Brewers, one shy of a National League record. If you were watching this game, every time you looked up early on, the ball was flying at Nationals Park. And don't look now, but you check out the National League Centrals. We check out our unlimited baseball break brought to you by T-Mobile. Cubs overtake the Brewers for the National League Central Division lead. At the All-Star break, 5.5 game cushion today, 1 game back.
It's like the old shark, doo-doom, doo-doom, doo-doom. Okay, JD, we've seen Washington, you've seen the Dodgers, probably the 2 best teams in the National League thus far. Which of the 2 is better, and which of the 2 is better geared to go to the stretch?
Well, if the Nationals had a Kenley Jansen at the back end, I would say no question I would go with them, just because once they get Jason Worth, I mean, they're doing what they're doing without Jason Worth and Trey Turner right now. Once you add them back to the lineup, it'll be an unstoppable lineup. I'm speaking to scouts and such. They say that you can pitch to the Dodgers lineup, even though they have been red hot. But right now, if they get Strasburg back, I would have to go with the Nationals.
A lot of ifs right there, Jim.
Well, you know what? You gotta sit on the fence sometimes. They're both great teams. I mean, it would be a great series right now.
You have a career in politics, young man.
Amen. JT Real Muto at the plate. 2 balls and no strikes from Stevenson. Now, no secret that the Brewers were in the hunt for Quintana from the White Sox before the Cubs got him, and for that matter, we left New York. The Yankees were in the hunt for him also, and you wonder, will they make a move to try to shore up their pitching in this final week as we head towards the trading deadline at the end of the weekend, Chris? And that's, everybody's looking, and we've seen it in the last week and a half. There have been a lot of scouts in a lot of places. So will we get a bevy of trades in these final few days?
I think we're going to see a lot of trades, George. I don't have any evidence to say that, but I just get the feeling, based on what we've talked and seen so many scouts, talked to those scouts around, there are more teams in it. You know, with regard to the Brewers, with the Cubs overtaking them in the division, all of a sudden now they go from being first place in the division, looking down at everybody else, to being 4.5 games back in the wild card. So you better try to win this division, because it is still up for grabs.
Well, Muto with some speed down at first, and we talked about O'Grady dancing a tightrope with 6 walks against the Reds last week. Already here, 3 walks by Stevenson in an inning plus, a prescription for difficulty for the Reds right-hander.
Yeah, and he's missing with the fastball, which I find very curious. Normally that's the pitch that pitchers go to when they need, you know, good command. He did kind of the same thing his last time against the Marlins. The Marlins chased a lot of off-speed pitches against him, up and out of the zone. I think maybe they're going to shrink that zone, make him bring it in there a little bit tonight.
There's Derek Dietrich in at 231. Did well against the Reds the last couple of years, either here or in Cincinnati. Solid defender and good with the bat down at third. The Marlins team, as most of you fans know, they're up for sale. I mean, the sale price has been tabbed over $1 billion, and 3 different groups have been jockeying for position to possibly buy the club from Jeffrey Loria. In the dirt, good block by Barnhart. A team that wanted to make a run at the beginning of the season. That's one of the reasons why they traded with the Reds for Dan Straley to help bolster their starting rotation.
And there were some other teams coming to the Marlins trying to trade for Dan Straley, and the Marlins are saying because their pitching is so thin that they're probably going to hold on to Straley. He's got a few more years of club control.
4-6, and they won't get the out at first, so a 4-6 put out. 1 out, 1 on, and here comes Tyler Moore.
So you keep going back to that Straley deal, and we will see Straley on Sunday, the last game here. He'll be facing the guy that he was, one of the guys that he was traded for, Austin Bryson, Luis Castillo. But it's always nice to see those two guys match up when they're traded for each other. And boy, I got to say that the Reds filleted the Marlins in that deal, at least at this point.
Yeah, in fact, down in the clubhouse today before the ball game, I was talking to Edinson Volquez, the former Red, who of course has thrown a no-hitter this year, just has had a tremendous exclamation point to his career. And the first thing he said was, well, what do you think of Castillo?
Yeah.
He loved him. He loved him. He said, who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Johnny Cueto when Cueto was young. Not necessarily mechanically, but because he does not get flustered on the mound. And we've seen that, haven't we? That's something you can't teach. Up and in for a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike to Tyler Moore. Moore in at .240, 6 homers and 21 knocked in. Breaking ball, swing and a miss.
It was kind of funny about the trade market, George. Last night, that game in which the Rangers were beaten by the Marlins 22-10, 22 runs. That was started by a pitcher that everybody in baseball wants really badly.
Yu Darvish.
And they're ready to line up all their prospects to get. Go figure, right? What, he couldn't block a field goal or what?
You wonder, do you mortgage the future for an arm?
Well, if your team is right there, sometimes you just got to do it, because you don't know. Even the best laid plans may backfire on you. You never know if you're going to get the health, the luck, and everything else to get you in their same position the next year or the year after that.
But Selig, of course, goes into the Hall of Fame this coming week. He ushered in the wild card, and the wild card has certainly created late season interest. But it's also somewhat of a fool's goal for those at the trading deadline who think they're in it, but are they really in it? And do you trade some of your best young talent to have a chance to make a wild card appearance for maybe only 1 game?
Yeah, but think of all the wild card teams that have won the World Series or have gone to the World Series in the last decade or so.
Start here in Florida. In the air to center field. Billy's got it measured. Dietrich goes halfway and retreats. There's 2 away. This is a pretty fair ballpark, Chris. When we used to come down here and play at the old Joe Robbie Stadium when it was first configured. It was a cow pasture out in left center field. You could hit it a mile. And this a little bit fairer in terms of numbers. Still a pitcher's park, but a fair park.
I think it's definitely a pitcher's park. Yeah, you miss those afternoon rainstorms over there at Joe Robbie, don't you?
Jim misses the rolls of sweat coming off him down by the dugout too. Here's Rojas with the runner still on first.
I just sense when I'm watching Robert Stevenson pitch that he's still overthrowing the fastball just a little bit. He just still doesn't believe that 90% effort is enough to get it by a big league hitter, and it is if you're able to locate it. And I think that the Reds and the young pitchers like Stevenson, they really miss the likes of Scott Feldman around. Because Feldman showed them all that I mean, he was averaging, I don't know, 92, 90 in that area. I mean, he certainly wasn't overpowering, but he was able to locate, and he was able to get deep in ball games before you know it, by making sure that he balanced that effort with control. And sometimes unless you see it, the coach can tell you, but you've got to sometimes see it in person to happen. And that's where a guy like Feldman had a very good and positive effect on these young pitchers.
And Dan Straley last year and Bronson Arroyo. And that was the plan for the Reds if Arroyo had stayed healthy and if they had him to be another one of those mentors for young pitchers.
Good point.
Here's the 3-0, and that's high. Ball 4. So 2 walks in the first, 2 walks in the second, and here comes the pitcher Chris O'Grady. with 2 on and 2 out here in the second. Ryan Price has seen a lot of that in the last couple of years. Of course, the Reds have started 8 rookie pitchers this year, and similar story from last year. Chris, when you came up, you might have come up to the major leagues, but very seldom did you come up through the minors as a starter. Usually you broke in the bullpen somewhere, long man, setup man, and you had to show that you could locate a fastball first before you ever got a chance to start.
Well, back in those days, though, George, the bullpen was made up of guys who weren't good enough to be in the starting rotation. So that's what is different about today, is that, you know, players or pitchers are groomed in the minor leagues to be short relievers, and it's not a stigma. It's something where we think your stuff fits better out of the bullpen as a starter, and that's where we're going to put you. There's only one spot in the bullpen nowadays for the starter who's not quite good enough to be in that rotation, and that's the long man, and that's the worst job in that bullpen.
There's the pitcher O'Grady looking for his first hit of the year. 2 on, 2 out for the Marlins. Stevenson to the stretch. And he's behind another 2-1. And out goes Barnhart.
Barnhart just trying to get him out of whatever zone he's in and locked into a different zone. Like, hey, just connect with me right here, okay? Stop thinking so much out there. Just relax. Look at my glove. I'm going to put a finger down or 2, and you throw what I tell you, and you hit the glove with it. And don't try to overanalyze this thing. O'Grady's going to be wheeling that lumber here.
2-1.
Well, why wouldn't you? Think they put the take on?
He double clutched. Two. That's a call, strike 3. So Stevenson gets strikeout number 1. He strands 2 more, and we're still scoreless going to the 3rd.
In Arlington, Texas, Adrian Beltre is not in the batter's circle, so umpire Jerry Davis says get in the batter's circle, so Beltre moves the batter's circle over where he wanted to be. He got tossed out of the game by Jerry Davis. Bannister eventually tossed out of the game. The manager Adrian Beltre in a game that was 22-10, the final score, and Beltre closing in on 3,000 hits, so those home fans were denied some at-bats by him. But a very humorous moment in Beltre moving over the batter circle, but we've got a rules expert sitting alongside George Grant. That batter circle does have a place, does it not?
Yes, it does, Jim Day. There's a 26-foot circle around home plate. And so 13 feet directly back behind home plate, you make a line, and then that line goes, you know, one way to each dugout, and that's where that batting circle should be. And, you know, I can understand Beltre having some fun with Jerry Davis, and maybe Jerry Davis was hot and he was tired, and he'd already seen about 30 runs scored, and he was ready to get out of there like everybody else. But, you know, rules is rules.
And you saw that diagram. It's so much different today because in the old days, and now home plate is so close to the stands, usually 40 to 45 feet in most ballparks. In the old days, you had 60, 70, 80 feet between home plate and those first seats.
Well, if you notice, George, in that diagram we showed, that it does show that it should be 60 feet from home plate to the screen right behind home. But you're right, I think some stadiums have crept up a little bit.
Take one more look at it, and you see the 60-foot radius. There are very few of the new ballparks that have 60 feet. It's usually between 40 and 50 feet. And
now, the other point of that, though, and this is really the part where Beltre, I know he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's a great player, so on and so forth. But, you know, there are 7 surefire ways of being ejected from a game.
That's right.
And not long ago, I wrote a rule of the week about that. And number 7 on that is if you ridicule an umpire, you're gone. And that's in the umpire's manual. So, you know, I know a lot of people are saying, hey, Jerry Davis, get a sense of humor and ease up a little bit. But on the other hand, I think that, you know, they don't want to be embarrassed either.
Hey guys, recently Brian Price was talking about the one sure way to get tossed out of a game, and it's one way that you can get tossed without cursing, and that's if you say to the umpire, I just watched the video and that was a bad call. Throughout baseball, if you say that you looked at the video and confirmed it was a bad call, they will immediately toss you. You don't even have to curse.
Yeah, that's manager 101. I mean, managers have talked about that since replay started. And then there's also, Chris, remember when Larry Boa got tossed in Los Angeles when they moved the third base coach's box. Remember they redrew it and wouldn't allow you outside, and everybody's outside the third base coach's box.
Well, and now they've amended the rule a little bit this year.
But it wasn't for getting out of the box. It was for showing up the umpire. Same story. You know, this is stage 1 of the picture as Billy is retired, and here's Suarez. Hamilton now 0 for 2. A little bit later on, as you watch the game tonight, watch where Dee Gordon sets up when he comes to the plate in the on-deck circle. Almost identical to what Beltre does, but so far nothing going on here with that. That's bounced to short. Suarez retired, 2 away.
2 rockets off the bat of Suarez so far.
What's the strangest ejection you were ever a part of or saw or observed?
You know, I think when an umpire will eject multiple people in a dugout because he hears something and he's not sure who said it, but you said it in just the right tone and you hit the right nerve, and so you 3 down there, you're gone, because he knew, you know, they're all starting pitchers and you knew it was one of us. And anyway, that's why you always kind of keep your head down in the dugout. Stay below the firing line.
Let somebody else get blamed. No balls, 2 strikes. You know, Jerry Davis was in a game where there were 22 runs scored by the Marlins last night, so maybe you're right, he was a little tired, but I remember Lee Elia telling a story once where he was managing the Cubs. They were behind 13-1. He went out and said, it was Harry Wendelstedt said, Harry, I'm going to get tossed in this game. Toss me, will you? And Harry Wendelstedt said, if I got to sit here for this, you're going to have to sit here too, and I won't toss you out no matter what you do. What an enjoyable guy he was, huh? Lee Elia and Hunter Wendelstedt's dad, Harry Wendelstedt. Hunter's on this staff today. He's the second base umpire. Harry was a character, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Boy, did he know the rules, though.
Yep.
And the same way with Hunter. In fact, Hunter Wendelstedt is one of those umpires that other umpires will call up to ask about, you know, rules interpretations and so on. Of course, there are other guys that are supervisors now. We just saw Randy Marsh in New York.
Votto works a walk. Joey gets his third walk in the last 2 days. He's on, and that's walk number 2 issued by O'Grady.
I just get the feeling that both of these pitchers, they have the ability to throw strikes, but they just don't feel their stuff right now is good enough for them to just throw the ball over the plate. So they're nibbling, and they end up walking guys, situational walks like that, rather than coming right in there to Votto.
You know, and if you were to replay Brian Price's directives to each of these young pitchers that have gone back to AAA this year, I mean, part of each talk was similar, and that is throw strikes. You've got to locate your fastball, among other things he talked about with each individually. Duvall pops it back, foul, and out of play.
Brian Price was the pitching coach for a long time at just about every level in the game, including the big league. So I mean, he knows what the formula is for success up here, and I think he believes that pitchers that the Reds have had up here, like Robert Stevenson and Amir Garrett and Cody Reed, you know, Rookie Davis and so on, that they all have the ability to pitch up here, but they have to figure it out themselves.
For some it takes a year or two, for others maybe 4 or 5 years,
Yeah.
and some never get there. So you can't rush the process, and in the meantime you got a manager and a staff trying to win at the major league level, and a team trying to rebuild and build a core of young pitchers. It does not come easy. It comes with some pain. 1-2 to Adam Duvall, who walked his first time up in the dirt.
And I think it's more difficult, George, on a team that's losing than a team that is winning. If you're a guy that joined, say, the Washington Nationals pitching staff coming out of AAA because Strasburg goes on the DL, you're surrounded by guys that are used to winning every night, and it just makes it's a little different perspective on your efforts that way.
Rip, if it's fair, it's gone deep to left, curving. It is a foul ball. That was headed about 15 feet fair until it turned south about 100 feet from the pole and went about 15 feet foul. Almost had his second multi-RBI homer in the last 2 days. Two.
You know, I'm watching JT Realmuto, and he's given the signs to Chris O'Grady on that. He wanted a high slider. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Throw that slider, but throw it up. Now just throw it in there.
Out in front of it, pops it up. Gordon camped under it. And there's your final out of the inning.
Reds get a walk, nothing to show for it. We're still scoreless going to the bottom of 3.
Suite, Great American Ballpark, gives fans a great view of the field. Enjoy an upscale buffet, full beverage service, comfortable seating, and more. It's Jim Day's favorite place. Book your next group outing in the Front Gate Outdoor Luxury Suite. Visit reds.com/groups. Well, here's Dee Gordon in the bottom of 3, leadoff batter up for the second time. He walked to start the game on a 3-1 pitch and then was thrown out trying to steal. Stevenson has allowed 4 walks, no hits through the first 2 innings in this scoreless encounter in Miami. George Grand, Chris Welsh, and Jim Day here in Miami at Marlins Park. Great to have you with us as the Reds play the first of 4. Reds live tomorrow at 6:30 on Friday. Saturday's game is an FS1 game. Sunday, day game here in Miami. We'll be on the air with the Reds live at 12:30. One ball, 2 strikes to Gordon. It's a foul ball. Great effort by Barnhart to try to get it before it spun back foul, but couldn't quite get there in time.
You can see why Dee Gordon doesn't get very many walks. I mean, that pitch was way out of the strike zone. 1-2 count, yes, trying to protect the plate, but really very little concept of what is a strike and what is not, if you think that's a strike.
Here's the 1-2 again in the dirt. By the way, we want to send a happy birthday wish to one of our great fans, Reds and Fox Sports Ohio. I'd like to send out a special birthday wish to Elsie Culbertson from Cincinnati, celebrating birthday number 90 tonight. Happy birthday, Elsie. Hope you can cheer on a Reds W tonight here in Miami. To the Marlins second baseman. Hanging in there, staying alive. Scooter gets a glove on it, but won't have a chance with the speedy Gordon.
I think Gordon was already anticipating that ball going into right field and began to make his turn, kind of running outside the foul line a little bit and making a turn towards first base. But that's when Scooter was able to put a glove on it.
So Gordon's on for the second time. Votto in tight, and Gordon saw nobody standing on second, so he was on his way bluffing out to second, and Joe West is just telling him they had already called time at home plate, so come on back. Joe's got the principal look, doesn't he, sometimes?
Oh, he's a superintendent.
Yep.
Not the principal.
Here's Giancarlo Stanton. Walked his first time up.
What? I'm trying to think, George, if there are very many other, I can't even think of any actually, other hitters, well-known hitters in the big leagues that have this close of a stance.
Old style, huh?
Yeah, sure is old style.
Right down the middle for a strike. Two big mammoth right-handed swingers, Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton, similar in some respects. They're both big, But they both have quick, short swings. I mean, they're not big load 'em up swings. They both are quick to the ball. I mean, it's amazing how this guy generates the power that he generates in such a quick swing. Here's the 0-2. Gordon going. Center field, high in the air. Back is Billy. He'll turn around, haul it in, and Gordon is going all the way to second, but he'll retrace his steps and get back to first. Gordon was all the way to second base, and when he looked up and saw where Billy was, he scampered back to the bag. Chris, we talk a lot about great coaches, and over the years, Freddie Benavidez has done a great defensive job with so many young Reds players. That guy down at first, Perry Hill, I mean, he's legendary. Like George Kissel, the former Cardinal infield instructor, maybe one of the best infield instructors in the history of the game, Perry Hill. That's no secret to the Marlins infield success since he came back here. They've gotten better defensively, and he's one of the big reasons why. So 1 out, 1 on. Gordon back at first. That was like a Dave Kingman fly ball to center, wasn't it? It almost hit the roof here.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a ball here come close to hitting the roof, but that was a high one.
Did Dee tweak something heading back into the bag? Looked like his right leg slipped out from under him as he was going back.
Joe West getting a kick out of it.
He gets a kick out of everything, doesn't he? Yelich at the plate. Gordon on first and 1 away.
Yeah, I'm surprised Gordon is diving back into the bag, to be honest with you, because where Votto is playing and the low, slow move by Stevenson, he might be thinking about stealing right here. That's what that's telling me anyway. Slide step. A little fake throw to first base right there by Barnhart. This is one of those plays that you can pre-plan and pick a runner off. Left-handed hitter up, so the runner at first base loses sight of the baseball. You ask for a slider down and in. Catcher slides that way, and he's got an easy throw to first base.
Loop to left. Here comes Duvall. Over. Got it. And Gordon will head back to first.
I don't think Gordon's going anywhere.
You wonder if he's okay after diving back into that first base bag. I mean, it looked like he had plans to steal from the get-go when Stan was at the plate. Here's Osuna. Hit a line drive into the left field corner that Duvall robbed him of extra bases and saved at least 1 run with a diving catch to end the first.
That's a good looking slider right there by Robert Stevenson. It seems like he's throwing more quality pitches with his breaking stuff than it is with his fastball, very much like it was last time when he pitched against Marlins.
Pitch out, nothing going.
Making mistakes with the fastball, that's what that number will tell you right there. Doesn't tell you that your fastball isn't good enough. It means you're not throwing it in a good enough spot.
Runner not going. Breaking ball misses. And it's 2-1. Now, we talk often, Chris, about having patience with pitchers. The Reds are trying to do that with some of their young pitchers. Same thing with this guy at the plate. I mean, there was a point in time where Osuna, was struggling, hitting around 150, 200 through the minor leagues for a couple of years in 2010 and 11. And some of the Marlins organization guys cooled on him, and others. There goes Gordon, and it's dropped by Barnhart. I don't know that he would have had him anyways. He got almost a two-step break. That's stolen base number 37 for Dee Gordon.
Well, he never really stopped him. I think that was the difference right there, and that's the rule number one for pitchers, is make sure the base runner stops. Would have been a very difficult play for Barnhart. He's already had a miraculous throw out once. Well, Osuna's a guy, George, that I think they soured on because his effort level isn't always consistent.
Look out, way up, and there's ball 4. So another walk by Stevenson. That puts runners at first and second with 2 away. That's the 5th walk by the Red starter tonight. We're in the 3rd inning.
I mean, that's just a formula for disaster. You might slip by here and there, but I mean, if you keep walking batters, eventually somebody's going to hit a gapper after you've walked a couple of guys, and you're going to be backing up third base watching white uniforms run by you.
There's JT Realmuto hitting in the 5th spot. Walked to lead off the 2nd and was left stranded.
This guy hit 2 home runs off Stevenson last time they squared up.
And you come to Miami and you look at the way this guy acts behind the plate and at the plate. One of those players, Chris, that might not be known throughout baseball, but guys on the field respect the way he plays the game.
Yeah, both of them came on fastballs up. And Realmuto, to me, looks like a high fastball hitter. I mean, just watch the way he holds his bat. Very much like where Cozart gets up. Cozart's really good at the high pitch. He's good at most everything. But Realmuto, I mean, just watch where he kind of sets himself up. He's telling you where he wants the baseball. And he'll flatten that bat out just right there. That's a telegraph. And that's where those 2 pitches were that he drove out of Great American Ballpark last time he faced Robert Stevenson.
Sitting on 11 homers this year, and it's 3 straight years with 10 or more home runs for a guy who runs pretty well. He can steal a base, and he's been solid behind the plate and runs their pitching staff well. 2 balls, 1 strike with 2 away. Dietrich on deck.
Good pitch.
Foul past Freddy Gonzalez, who's in the third base coach's box for the Miami Marlins. Freddy, of course, former manager here and a former manager in Atlanta. Gonzalez at third and Perry Hill over at first.
I imagine that Freddy Gonzalez would like to get back into the managerial seat at some point.
And may very well get another chance. They had 2 teams that were less than prolific when he managed them. 2-2. Pop back and foul. And it tells you something too about the kind of guy that Don Mattingly is. Mattingly is not afraid to surround himself with quality guys. Some have been managers before, but also not afraid to discuss with them the game. See Tim Wallach next to him.
Well, he didn't always have complete say over who was on his staff. For instance, when they brought in Barry Bonds, he was one of the last to find out. Bonds was the hitting coach last year.
Now his former teammate with the Yankees, Mike Pagliarulo, is the hitting coach here. 2-2. Looped into center. Billy's going to get there. He'll squeeze it. 3 fly ball outs. That gets around 2 more base runners, and we're still scoreless going to the 4th. Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, being brought to you tonight by Cincinnati Children, changing the outcome together, and by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. Great to have you with us near South Beach. The Reds and Marlins scoreless. First of 4 in South Florida. The Reds against the Marlins. Marlins have pretty much ruled the roost against the Reds of late. The Reds are 5-9 in their last 14 games here. And they've lost 5 straight to Miami. Schebler, Peraza, and Barnhart do up 6, 7, and 8 for the Reds. Those 5 straight losses, you can add it up. Outscored 28-1 in inning number 5 and later. And most of the damage came in 5 and 6. See if the Reds can get on the board earlier here. Schebler struck out first time up. And Scooter Gennett will lead it off. Bounces down to second. And there's one away. Peraza will follow. Kind of reminds you, O'Grady does, Chris, the old lefty from Pittsburgh, Randy Tomlin, who throws right across his body. I mean, he just, and it for a hitter, especially a left-handed hitter, it's a different kind of look.
Well, it is, because the ball will cut on you. It's very difficult to make that ball back up when you're across your body because you never get your hips open. That's one reason why most pitching coaches of younger pitchers want you to at least be, you know, straight towards your direction and your line towards home plate so you can get that ball to back up. Drafted by the Angels, 10th round, 2012. By the and then stayed in the Angels organization. After the Reds drafted him in the Rule 5 in December of 2015, he was returned at the end of the spring training in 2016. And then a year later gets released by the Angels this year and then picked up by the Marlins in April.
Popped up in the infield. Who's going to take charge? Dietrich will, and there's your second out. Let's go back to our Fox Sports Ohio studios in Cincinnati. Here's Brian Giesenslaw with an in-game update. Thanks, Brian. Brian Giesenslaw, Jeff Pecoro will wrap things up with us with Reds Live post-game when this one concludes here in Miami. Here's the shortstop, Jose Peraza. He singled to left first time up. Jose trying to get out of his prolonged funk. Spent extra time in the batting cage, extra time just trying to think his way out of it too, and that's probably one of the more difficult things. You struggle offensively, and how do you get out of it? Do you just turn the page, forget about it? Do you spend extra time in the batting cage? You do a little bit of everything. It's a mental, physical, emotional struggle at the major league level. This is his 29th start at short after 60 starts at second base, and figures to play there consistently now that Cozart has had his quad problems. I mean, even if Zach comes back, in all probability, it's not going to be an everyday scenario for the Red shortstop. The quad muscle problem. There's a liner into left center that'll drop for a hit. He's 2 for 2. Good start to this night for the Red shortstop.
Oh, you know, you're always looking for things to turn around, and hopefully this may be something that Peraza will start building a little confidence. I can just get the feeling that he's just kind of fishing up there and just wanting to make contact, wanting to get that at bat over as quickly as possible. And you continue to have to remind yourself that he's 23 years old. And he's probably in the big leagues maybe a little bit ahead of time. But the Reds have a need.
2 out, 1 on for the Reds. Here's Barnhart. Peraza single with a 1 out in the second. Did not attempt a stolen base. Barnhart grounded out. He was moving on 1 pitch and avoided a double play by getting to second before the shortstop Rojas could get him at second and threw out Barnhart at first. Bluff's going this time. Pitch is low, and it's 1-1. Brian Price will have Sal Romano go tomorrow, Tim Adelman on Saturday, and then Castillo will go on Sunday. As the parade of young pitchers continues here. Ripped into left by Barnhart. That's a base hit, and stopping at second will be Peraza. So the Reds get back-to-back base hits for the first time tonight. 2 on, 2 out, and here comes the pitcher Stevenson. And just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller time later in today's game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
Very similar really to the situation that Robert Stevenson had the first time he came to the plate. He had Peraza at second base and 2 outs. Here he is again. That at bat, he chased a breaking ball down in the dirt and made an easy out back to the pitcher. Here's a chance for you to really help yourself here. Get a good pitch to hit. First pitch change up.
Peraza good speed off second. Barnhart off first. In the corner for a strike. And it's 0-2.
All right, get on top of the dish, choke up, and battle them.
Setting up down and away is Real Muto. There's a bullet back through the infield, flag down, and they'll get the out. Nice play by Rojas. Robs the Reds of a hit and a run. Still scoreless going to the bottom of 4.
festivities that go along with it, including home run derby. Aaron Judge, boy, did he ever put on a show. The big guy was crushing them out of here. Now, not only did he win the home run derby, but single-handedly changed the ground rules here at Marlins Park, because they built this place thinking that this roof was unreachable until Judge hit the roof during the home run derby. It was not ruled as a home run. But before the game, crew chief Joe West had to come over to the Reds and say, we've got new ground rules here that if it hits the roof, if a ball hits the roof and we deem it in fair territory, you can catch that ball. If it hits and we deem it in foul territory, it's a foul ball. So has changed the ground rules, one, and two, I imagine in the offseason they're going to have to put some markings on the roof similar to what we see in Tampa Bay, deeming it fair or foul. They even consulted with NASA when they built this place, came up with a formula. 210 feet is the highest that it is above second base, and they felt with measuring all the air temperature, etc. in here, air density, that it would never be attained until Aaron Judge came along.
Very similar to Tampa, which are the same ground rules there. If it hits the ceiling and stays fair, it's a deemed fair, it's a playable ball, and likewise if it goes foul. And in Montreal, Chris, when you played in Montreal, of course that Kingman and Strawberry did hit the roof up there. Here's a shot to right center field. Billy Hamilton, long run at the wall, looking up. It is gone. Derek Dietrich clips home run number 5, run batted in number 28 on the season. He continues what has been heavy hitting against the Reds throughout his young career.
Boy, did he turn this one around in a hurry. At the top end of the strike zone, pretty much splitting the plate.
So the Reds, after stranding 6 through 4, now find themselves trailing 1-0 here in the bottom of 4. Tyler Moore back to the plate. He flied out first time up. Swing and a miss, 1-1. I mean, you look at the numbers for the Marlins. They've been near the top of the pack in average all year, and in home runs have been in the middle of the pack. Their problems are very similar to the Reds. I mean, they're 14th in starting pitching. The Reds are 15th. They're 11th in relief pitching. The Reds are 15th in relief pitching earned run average. So they can produce some runs. And
well, the difference, I think, between the two teams, though, George, the expectations for the Marlins this year were to be right in the thick of things in the National League East, and the Reds, right from the very beginning, it was a kind of a rebuilding, refitting year.
Moore retired on the strikeout for Stevenson. That's strikeout number 2.
And that's why the Marlins made the deal for an established pitcher in Dan Straley, and the Reds got prospects back.
And now the other part of the Marlins equation is, with the team up for sale, and some of those that have expressed interest in buying the club have talked about the debt that the team has, including still $295 million owed to Giancarlo Stanton. The question is, do you trade away some of that debt to make the franchise more palatable for somebody to buy? It's an internal debate that Jeffrey Loria is going through right now. And they've talked about a $1.1 or $1.2 billion price tag, and many believe it'll be closer to $900 million. There's a bouncer back over second, and under the glove of Peraza, it'll go as a base hit for Rojas.
Rojas runs fairly well. I'm not so sure that even if Peraza fields this ball, straightens himself up and throws to first, that you're going to be able to get Miguel Rojas. So a couple of hits in the inning, a bomb by Dietrich, and a little 26 hopper up the middle with one out.
And here comes the pitcher O'Grady with one out. Reds expecting a bunt. In tight at third is Suarez, inching up the line. With Rojas down at first from the stretch is Stevenson. O'Grady shows bunt, gets it down. Votto will take the out at first. A successful sacrifice by O'Grady. Sacrifice 3-4 the put out, and a runner in scoring position with 2 away. Back to Dee Gordon at the top of the order. O'Grady didn't waste any time getting the job done, and there's another runner in scoring position. Were you there for any of those balls that hit the roof up Montreal?
Yeah, I saw him hit the roof up there. Saw him hit the scoreboard way back there in center field too. I was kind of proud to serve up that one.
You served that one. In between the leaks in the roof.
Well, that was when Tim Wallach was playing third base and played deeper and deeper every day.
Left center, who will get there? Duvall will. Prevented you from backing up third a couple times, didn't he? 1-0 Marlins. Ticket package for as low as $25. You get a Reds ticket and a limited edition Game of Thrones Dragon bobblehead. Purchase the Game of Thrones ticket package at reds.com/themes. The Dragon bobblehead only available with a purchase of Game of Thrones ticket package. Derek Dietrich's home run has given the Marlins a 1-0 lead. Billy Hamilton back top of the order will lead it off as we go to the 5th. The Reds got a hit from Suarez and a walk to Duvall. They stranded 2 in the first. They got a base hit by Peraza, stranded him in the second. A walk to Votto stranded him in the third, and 2 base hits and 2 more runners stranded in the fourth. So they've stranded 6 through 4. O'Grady, who walked 6 in his last appearance but somehow dodged the bullet for most of the evening, is dodging the bullet again tonight. Game of opportunities. Chris, you talk about Tim Adelman getting a chance for the Reds this year when people go down and injuries come, and he's shown that he can throw strikes, talking about keeping teams in a game, and it's the same story for O'Grady here.
I think you're right, and you got to be happy for a young man that's been bounced around. I mean, he had a really rough spring.
Billy sends it to left center. Closing in on it is Yelich, and 2 stops from the wall. They'll haul it in, 1 away. Billy's 0 for 3.
After having a tough spring in spring training for the Angels, he was released and then really had nowhere to go. Instead of sitting around here the entire month of April, and he called his old pitching coach, Scott Budner. And Budner is I think the AA coach, maybe the AAA coach here with the Marlins organization. And upon his request and recommendation, the Marlins gave him a tryout. Next thing you know, he signs to a minor league contract and fills a slot when they need him. So you keep chasing your dream until everybody tells you that you can't do it anymore.
I think the one thing the Marlins have done last couple of years too, when they brought Jim Benedict over here, it's changed the pitching philosophy a little bit. He's their organizational director of pitching here, not just a coordinator, pitching coordinator. He's the organizational director of pitching.
Well, and he really has a lot of influence on a lot of these different pitchers. In fact, I've talked quite a bit with Austin Bryce when he was up in the big leagues about Jim Benedict and his philosophies and so on. Gotten to talk to Jim a few times, and boy, what a highly respected pitching mind he is around baseball.
Here's Suarez, 1 for 2, a base hit to left, and that's a quick at bat for Eugenio. That's a strikeout number 3 for O'Grady. And there's 2 away here in inning number 5. And here comes Joey. Votto flied out and walked on a 3-2 pitch in the 3rd. Swing and a miss by Joey. 1 ball, 1 strike. Very seldom he'll talk to the umpire, and more often he'll talk to himself at home plate, and that's what he's doing there after he swings at a breaking ball down and away.
Just like Tommy Lasorda used to say, it's okay if you talk to yourself, just don't answer.
Yep. Tommy will be in Cooperstown this coming weekend, and of course we come to Florida, we always like to see Tony Perez and Andre Dawson, 2 Hall of Famers who are here. They're going to be heading to Cooperstown as well for the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies this weekend. That got him on the arm. So Joey's on for the 2nd time tonight. And Chris, you want to send our get well wishes out to a great guy. I mean, you and I have known him for years. Felo Ramirez, a Hall of Fame broadcaster, Spanish language broadcaster here in Miami, who suffered a fall earlier this year and has been hospitalized since. He's no longer broadcasting this season. Hopefully he'll be back at some point in time, but just an outstanding broadcaster, but a great guy that and it's been a treat to be around him over the years.
Really a rock in the Hispanic community here. 93 years old and still broadcasting this year when the season began.
And Dave Van Horn, a Hall of Fame broadcaster here too, is taking the weekend off, so he's heading up to Cooperstown. Of course, we got our own Hall of Famer in our broadcast booth, and Marty Brenneman. That's a rocket down the left field line. It is a fair ball into the corner. Votto's rounding second, going to third. The ball rattles around. They're going to send him. Here comes the throw to the plate. Votto will be out. They got him. A perfect relay from Osuna to Rojas, and Rojas' throw is right on the money. They get Votto by a step. by Adam Duvall. It took a perfect relay, Chris, from Osuna to Rojas, and it was perfect.
Well, it did, and it was a very nice exchange by the Marlins on defense right here. Osuna, and then the shortstop Rojas, and he throws it right on the money. But you know what? I've always wondered in a situation like that, and maybe runners don't think of this, George, but when a ball is right down the third baseline, and you know that that relay is coming right down the line, why not run inside the line there in fair territory? There's no rule against it, so that you have a better chance of either blocking the ball from or being seen by the catcher, or even having the ball hit you in the back or legs as you're going towards home.
Certainly, if you start at third, you want to do that, but your momentum carrying your second to third around that bag, difficult to do it. You see Votto trying to bend it in as tight as he can, and the throw just perfect. You're right. If he's on the line, but how many runners do you see can make that cut and end up on the line?
Very true.
Well, it took a perfect relay, and Rojas has been a gem so far tonight defensively for the Marlins. Here's Giancarlo Stanton. A walk and a fly ball out. Well, I guess everybody was pointing to Stanton against Judge in the showdown for the home run derby. Giancarlo was eliminated, and Aaron Judge wound up winning the home run derby. Boy, has he provided some long shots here in South Florida for his Marlin fans.
What's really kind of peculiar as I watch Stanton play. I mean, we watch him on TV. We don't get to see him very often live, except for the 2 series a year the Reds play the Marlins. But he may not admit it, but he sure looks like a guest hitter to me. I mean, he's taking a couple of pitches right down Broadway here tonight. Maybe looking for something different. I guess that's what it takes if you're going to hit a ball 500 feet. First in home runs, third in extra base hits, fourth in slugging.
How far do you think he can hit it with his driver?
Ooh.
Full count 3-2, and that's wide ball 4. He walks for the second time. And you know the story if you missed it the last couple of days. On Tuesday night against Texas, Jason Grilli strikes him out, and Grilli, in really a meaningless at bat, pumps his fist. Then last night in a 22-run explosion, uncharacteristic for Stanton, he does the same thing, and he said after the game, look, I don't usually do it, but I didn't expect Jason Grilli to react the way he reacted on Tuesday, so all's fair in love and war and baseball, and thus the reaction from Giancarlo Stanton last night.
I guess the fist pump is the pitcher's version of a bat flip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That had to feel so good for Stanton, though. I mean, really. You see where the pitch was that he hit for a home run? It was up in his eyes.
Here's Yelich, the 1-ball delivery. That's a strike, 1-1. Hey, those are 2 guys that you would never expect either one to do it. I mean, Jason Grilli's about as good a teammate as you have, and you know he likes to pump himself up, pump his teammates up. So that reaction, you know, you've seen him do it to close out a game very often, but not in those kind of situations. I think it kind of surprised Stanton, and everybody asked him about it after the game, and I think he was ready last night. Boy, did he deliver. 2-1 to Yelich. For Stevenson, the walk to Stanton. The 6th walk he's allowed in 4+ innings of work tonight. Marlins have stranded 6. The Reds have stranded 7. Though each team has had chances tonight. Fouled at the plate, 2-2. It's missing inside, and another full count, 3-2 to Yelich. And in a night where the Marlins scored 22 last night, everybody had some headlines, and kind of lost in the shuffle was Yelich last night. 4 extra base hits for Yelich last night. Reached base 5 times on the night. (3-2) short lead for Stanton down at first. Not going, and that's wide. Another walk. So back-to-back walks for Stevenson. Now 7 free passes tonight, and we're in the 5th inning.
Now that's the most of the year, really. That's through Storen warming up. He had 6 walks in his first appearance this year, did Robert Stevenson. That was one of the things that got the Reds immediately on him, saying, hey, you've got to have better command of your stuff up here.
Pep talk from Barnhart, and Matt Jenkins, the pitching coach, will join that conversation. Four and 5 due up with 2 on and nobody out here in inning number 5. Now, Chris, in the minor leagues, you can walk a few guys, but then you can get a few guys to swing at a breaking ball out of the strike zone and get out of it. Up here, you walk guys and you pay the price.
Yeah, because guys just don't normally expand the zone.
Dangerous character here. Osuna lined to left and walked 0 for 1. 23 homers, 77 knocked in for the left fielder for the Marlins.
Speaking of guys in the minor leagues, it was Amir Garrett that pitched tonight for the Louisville Bats. They're trying to get him some progress in throwing the ball over the plate. 6 2/3 innings of 2-run, no walk baseball. So maybe Garrett's beginning to put things together.
That would certainly be a welcome sign for Amir and for this Reds organization. 2-0, and he's behind here after walking 2. Stanton out at second, Yelich over at first. Not a prescription you like to see. 43 balls, 43 strikes in his 86 pitches. Center field, Billy starts back, now comes in. Stanton tags but will hold, and a perfect throw from Hamilton. That kind of went off the end of the bat. Hamilton thought it was hit harder than it was, took 2 steps deep, and got enough speed to recover, and he replaces his divot in center field. First out of the inning, and here comes Real Muto, walked and flied out 0 for 1. Fouled at the plate, and a nice catch as well by the umpire, Alan Porter. He's got hands like you. Ole. Ahead 0-2 with the 2 runners on. Middle of the infield, double play depth for the Reds.
Well, same thing what happened with Stevenson and Real Muto last time up. He got ahead of him and then kind of made him chase the breaking ball. He's a whole different looking hitter when he gets a breaking ball versus a fastball.
Great block by Barnhart. That was almost out of the left-handed batter's box. Both runners about 1/3 of the way trying to advance. And that's picture perfect form right there. Here's the 1-2 to Real Muto. And he hangs in there, stays alive. Brian Price seen a lot of this year and the last 2 years. 7 walks tonight from his starting pitcher. Storen still loosening and ready if needed in the bullpen. Towards the hole, backhanded by Peraza. They'll go to second and not in time. Peraza wanted to go to third, but the third baseman Suarez had to go off the bag, thinking that he might have a shot at it, so they had no play at third and nothing at first.
Yeah, just an unlucky location right there. The first couple of steps by Suarez were towards the baseball, which is your natural instinct. But by the time that the ball is picked up by Peraza, Suarez can't get back to third. They can't get the runner at second. So a couple of walks and an infield hit. And it looks like that will send Robert Stevenson to the showers.
So the scoreboard reads 1-0, but the Marlins will now have the bases loaded with 1 out here in the 5th. And while the pitching change takes place, we'll take time out for these messages. It's our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. In the third, 5 hits, a run so far, 1 strikeout, but 7 walks issued by Robert Stevenson, and that's why he's sitting and watching as Drew Storen will come in and try to wriggle out of this bases loaded 1 out jam. Chris.
Well, you know, he throws strikes. That's the one thing we do know about Storen. And the Reds could really use a strikeout right here. Unfortunately for Storen, he's going to be facing a left-handed hitter.
And that's Derek Dietrich, who homered last time up to make it this 1-0 ball game that we're in right now. That's wide for ball 1. Dietrich bounced into a fielder's choice first time up and then hit 1 out in right center field for his 5th homer of the year. Stanton on third, Yelich on second, Real Muto on first. That's wide, 2-0.
Well, you keep telling yourself here, if you're Drew Storen in a situation like this, you make a good pitch, you keep it down the zone, you get a ground ball double play.
That's a strike.
Good
2-1
right there. That was a good idea by Dietrich not to swing at that pitch. That had ground ball written all over it. Go right back down there again.
Barnhart rolling through his signs from the stretch. Storen, here's the 2-1. Nice block by the Reds catcher, and it's 3-1.
High school battery. Brownsburg High School right here at revisiting Miami.
And a wintertime battery this year too. Storen trying to reinvent himself and reinvigorate his career. It was Tucker Barnhart's work with him that prompted him to suggest to the Reds that it'd be a good dice to roll. And he's had a good year for the Reds. And we'll go full 3-2. That's a great example. When we first saw Drew Storen, Chris, it was when he was in Washington. In fact, he signed the first day. I remember that day when we talked to Mike Leake at draft day when we were in Washington. He signed that very same day. They became two key performers for their team. Storen in the bullpen as a closer for Washington. Mike Leake as a starter for the Reds. His velocity no longer what it was, but he's reinvented himself as an effective reliever. At this time, he'll walk a run in. 3-2 pitch wide. The run crosses the plate. 2-0 the lead to the Marlins. That's the 8th walk by the Reds. We're in the 5th inning here tonight. That run charged to Stevenson. The second run charged to his ledger. And here's Tyler Moore. Moore 0 for 2, fly ball out and a strikeout. Well, both runs batted in the ledger of Derek Dietrich tonight. Drops down and almost clips Moore. It's inside for a ball. 1-0.
Yeah, what's Moore doing trying to get out of the way of that pitch? I guess your instinct is, you know, to back up and get out of the way of it, but I mean, you can also just stand there, take one for the team and pick up a ribeye. Maybe a sore ribeye, but you still get one. You know, last year the Reds led the world in walks. They walked more than anybody else in the National League by 33 batters, or by 33 walks. That was over the Diamondbacks. This year they're in second place. They trail only the Marlins in their wildness.
Bouncing back, Storen. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Yelich inches off third, Real Muto off second, and Dietrich off first. He holds on it, and it's 2-2.
Decision pitch right here, big time decision pitch. Too many bad things can happen on a 3-2 count, especially when you have the bases full. You know, Moore has not looked good on pitches that are breaking away from him. If Storen can throw a strike here with a breaking ball and keep it down, he's got a pretty good chance of getting a good result.
Popped up. Is there going to be room? Well, it'll be in the seats, out of play. Only 5th inning, but already trailing 2-0. A big moment in this game for the Reds. Storen trying to wriggle out of a bases loaded 1-out jam. Fastball foul back, and it stays 2-2, and Barnhart will go out and confer with his former high school teammate. Indiana's going to be coming to Cincinnati come September. It'll be bobblehead night for Tucker Barnhart. You've got to believe there are going to be a few buses coming in from Indiana that night, Chris.
There ought to be. They ought to be very proud of what they've done over there in Brownsburg.
Jeff McEwen, the coach there, proud of his graduates and those major leaguers that have come through.
Well, this is a stressful at bat here for Storen. You come in, your bases loaded, you've already walked one guy. You have a 2-2 count, you have a pesky hitter in there who keeps fouling away some pretty good pitches.
Barnhart rolls through the signs twice. Here comes Storen with the bases loaded again. That misses just wide. Porter almost pulled his hand up. Was halfway up and held it. Storen wanted that call, doesn't get it. We're 3-2 again. Fly ball down the right field line. It'll be fouled and out of play, though. Moore covering the outside of that plate where Storen's been nipping away at it. This will be the 10th pitch of this at bat and the 16th pitch of this inning for Drew Storen. Here is coming back in. They're going to try to. Fly ball to right. Schebler over in the corner, reaching up, got it. That'll get a run in on a sacrifice fly, but they'll get an out of it, and going from second to third will be Real Muto. So it'll be first and third. In fact, I think Votto's asking that maybe the runner left too early from second to check it out. And he asked Peraza, and Peraza said no. So, but a sacrifice fly by Moore, and you know the old scoreboard at Riverfront Stadium, Chris, walks will haunt. The 2 walks started this inning. Both of them have scored. Now a 3-0 lead for the Marlins. One scoring on a bases loaded walk, and the other one on this sacrifice fly. 3-0 Marlins.
8 walks in 5 innings. You ought to be very fortunate the game's only 3-0.
And here's Rojas. Rojas walked and singled, been on base twice. And his defense has kept the Reds off the board tonight. One sparkling play at short, and then a relay play, and nailed Votto at the plate after a double by Duvall. Dietrich off first, Real Muto off second. Strike 1-1. Down the middle, that's strike number 2, 1-2. Marlins have had their share of injuries this year again. Rojas and Moore both in this lineup tonight. They've had injuries at short, injuries at first. Justin Bour, who had a monster first half, solid home run threat at first. He's back on the disabled list. Breaking ball wide. You take somebody like Bour out of this lineup, Chris, that hurts. 21 home runs.
Well, he's a left-handed enforcer, and he's a big guy. He's intimidating at the plate. He goes with the pitch very well, having a career type season. That 10-day DL, that's going to be more like almost a month for Bour, because he pulled a side muscle, one of those obliques that just don't heal very quickly.
Bounce back to Storen on the 2-2 pitch, and Drew gives up a sacrifice fly and a walk that produces 2 more runs. Both of those charged to Stevenson, and the Reds trail at 3-0. Girls clubs of Greater Cincinnati for the 3rd annual Sand Volleyball Classic on August the 12th. Co-ed teams of 8 are welcome to come out and compete for a great cause. Registered today at bgcgc.org. bgcgc.org. Here are the numbers. The Marlins have only 4 hits, but the Reds have walked 8 through 5 innings. 1 run scoring on the Dietrich homer, a bases loaded walk, and a sacrifice fly that produced the other 2. And once again, Chris O'Grady's hanging in. We go to the 6th inning, and he's got a 3-0 lead. It'll be Scooter Gennett, Scott Schebler, Jose Peraza due up 5, 6, and 7 for the Reds.
Well, he's had 3 major league starts, all of them this year, all of them in the month of July for Chris O'Grady, and all of those have ended in 5 1/3 innings or less. So he's an out away from being an uncharted territory from a big league starter standpoint. For a guy that had 6 walks his last time out, he's walked 1 and he's walked 2 and hit 1.
Longest outing for him in his career is 7 2/3 innings. That was last year. So let's see if the Reds can get something going in inning number 6. Here's Scooter. Hit one to the wall and right that Stanton picked off the top of the wall for the final out of the 1st. That came with 2 on. This game would have looked a lot different had that one going out. And he bounced to second time up. You don't know when the opportunities will come, Chris, and I guess for Chris O'Grady, like Tim Adelman too, you grab every opportunity you have, and he's got one this year.
Well, you don't look the opportunity hand in the eye, that's for sure, or however that saying goes. I mean, you just take it. You work hard at it. You keep working hard at it. And here he is, finally, getting a chance to pitch in the major leagues.
Fouled off but held on to by Real Muto. That's a strikeout. Strikeout number 4 for O'Grady. And here comes Schebler.
He's a really great guy. I got to know him fairly well, as a first-year guy in spring training with the Reds a year or so ago, and he's the kind of guy you want to pull for, because he's kind of gone against the odds. I just don't think his stuff translated to what the Reds wanted out of him out of the bullpen.
But like they say, there's always a job for a left-hander, right?
Yeah.
An opportunity.
Look at us.
Yep. Amen. Here's Schebler, strikeout and a pop-up 0 for 2. One hopper to Dee Gordon. He shovels it over to first, and there's 2 away. And here comes Peraza. He's been the lone bright spot for the Reds offensively tonight. Single to left, single to center, 2 for 2. Loop down the right field line. It'll drop foul. Hit hard down to third. Nice play by Dietrich. He wheels and will get Peraza by a step. Well, the Reds go quietly in inning 6. They still trail it 3-0.
Any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
There's some Reds fans with a smile of hope as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. New pitcher for the Reds will be Blake Wood, his 43rd appearance, and the middle and end of this bullpen has been used a lot. Chris, we got to the month of May and headed into June, and you knew when your bullpen innings were almost equal to your starters innings that in June and July it was going to catch up to you, and it has for the Reds.
Well, you hope that that catch-up wouldn't happen until maybe the month of August, later in August, and then in September you can bring in more troops, of course, when you expand the rosters. But it's been a tough go for the bullpen to try to cover all the innings that have been left vacant by the starting rotation. But it's a job of the front office, you know, to continue to improve the ball club and the roster. So, you know, you're wondering if maybe moving a guy like Blake Wood, if there's a team out there interested, if they see something in Wood that would fit on their club, or Storen, somebody like that. These guys are being scouted and being scouted heavily right now.
That's a swing and a miss. O'Grady's retired. He strikes out for the second time. He did have a successful sacrifice, longest major league outing of his career for Chris O'Grady, and he's hitting here in the 6th inning. Back to the top of the order, Dee Gordon. Now the goal of Dick Williams and Brian Price and the organization after last year, you mentioned it, the bullpen difficulties the Reds had, was to beef up the bullpen, and they've done that. I mean, really, especially when you consider the money spent, it was spent wisely in the bullpen. The bullpen is better. Problem still trying to find a 5-man rotation that works for 2018, and due to the injuries, and there's a bouncer back through the middle into center field, and Gordon's on for the 3rd time. A walk, an infield hit, and this base hit to center. Arizmendi Alcantara's in the game at short. He'll bat in the number 9 position and will be due up 2nd in the next inning, and Wood enters the game in the number 7 position. So Alcantara in at short. And here comes the big guy. Giancarlo Stanton walked, flied out, and walked. He scored a run in the 5th. From the stretch is Wood. Stolen base by Gordon back in the 3rd, his 37th of the season. Last 2 years, Billy Hamilton has had the stolen base lead in the National League going into the last month of the season, but injuries have robbed him of 2 potential stolen base titles. 2 years ago, Gordon got it, and BR got it last year for Milwaukee. Wood holds it a long time. Short lead for Gordon, going nowhere that time. Runner not going. Pitch on the knees for a strike. 0-2. If you are the Marlins, knowing what you know about the sale of their team and the price tag put on it, do you entertain the possibility of trading a guy who really is your franchise player and the reason why so many people come to the ballpark? There goes Gordon. Pitch out. Will they get him? They will. Second time tonight, Tucker Barnhart throws out Gordon, and Gordon's slow to get up once again.
Well, it was a pitch out. Even though Blake Wood didn't give him a great pitch out right there, he delivered it quickly to him, and a nice peg by the Brownsville, Indiana native Tucker Barnhart to get him. Boy, I'll tell you what, That fires me up when I see Barnhart throw a guy out, or any of the Reds catchers. I think that's great athleticism right there. Catch, throw, quick pop time, right on the money.
You know, the Reds don't pitch out a lot, and it takes the right pitcher to do it, because especially when you have young pitchers, because sometimes you pitch out and they slow up their motion, their delivery. Give Wood credit and give Barnhart both credit.
You know, I got to differ with you a little bit, George. If you don't know how to pitch out when you get to this level, you don't belong up here.
But how many do?
Well, then go ahead and pitch with a guy on second base.
Which they've been doing. That's a swing and a miss, and Barnhart gets the Reds out of trouble. Still 3-0 Marlins. For a Honda game summary, Reds trail at 3-0. The story of this one, a big bullet home run to lead off the fourth inning by Derek Dietrich, made it 1-0. The Marlins had the lead. And defensively, Rojas has made two brilliant plays. First, a great stop of a potential base hit, and look at this relay throw from Osuna, nailing Joey Votto, trying to score and tie the game at the plate. The lead was 1-0. And then two walks to start the fifth inning by Robert Stevenson. The end result, Drew Storen walks in one, gives up another on a sacrifice fly. Two more runs for the Marlins in the fifth. Added up, and the Reds have walked 8 all told. 7 by Stevenson, 1 by Storen. 3 runs, only 5 hits for the Marlins. No runs, 5 hits for the Reds. We go to the 7th. And O'Grady continues for his longest start as a major leaguer, facing the bottom of the order. It'll be Barnhart, and then the number 9 slot, which is Arizmendi Alcantara, and then the top of the order, Hamilton. Reds haven't had much offense. 2 hits from Peraza. The defensive star of the night is this guy Barnhart. He rifles this one to right, but there is Stanton, and there's one away. Barnhart 1 for 3 now. A single to center his last time up. There's one away in the 7th. And here comes Alcantara. Breaking ball on the outside corner for a strike. Well, 6 walks last time, Chris, when O'Grady faced the Reds. This time only 2, and he's really had the Reds right where he's wanted them all night long.
Well, which is a little bit out in front of all of his pitches, mostly that cutter and changeup and curveball. You know, he blamed the humidity in Cincinnati for not being able to get a good grip on the ball, and you know, he's made an adjustment, and he's throwing the ball much better here tonight.
You pitched in the 2 polar opposites when you were in the minors and the majors, in Denver where there's no humidity, and in Cincinnati. What's more difficult?
I think Denver by a long shot. Well, he is dealing tonight. And the other thing that O'Grady's doing is that the better he pitches, the faster he pitches, meaning the time between his pitches. I mean, he's getting it and going.
Well, the Reds faced a similar kind of lefty in New York the other day. Jordan Montgomery worked fast, threw strikes, and got ahead of the Reds. Had a no-hitter into the 6th inning against Cincinnati in Game 1 of that series, won by the Yankees. And this lefty's doing the same thing here tonight. Here's Billy, fly to right, struck out, fly to center. Ball and a strike. Billy takes a peek down at third, where Dietrich is still 2 steps in front of the bag. And he inches another step closer. And they got him right where they want him. 3 balls in the air off the bat of Billy Hamilton tonight. 0 for 4 is Billy, and that wraps up the 7th for the Reds. To the bottom of 7, Yelich leads it off. When the Ohio Lottery postgame concert series continues with Flo Rida on Friday, August the 4th at Great American Ballpark. See Flo Rida perform chart-topping hits including My House, Low, Cake, and more. Don't miss Flo Rida live at the ballpark. For tickets, visit reds.com/concerts. Blake Wood in for his 2nd inning of work. Christian Yelich will lead it off. 2 fly balls and a walk to Yelich tonight in the 5th. Stanton walked, Yelich walked. Real Muto reached on an infield hit. That was the last batter that Stevenson faced. Storen walked in a run and then gave up another on the sacrifice fly. Eight walks in total issued by the Reds on this night. Three runs, 5 hits for Miami. No runs, 5 hits for the Reds. Parade of young pitchers continues tomorrow. Chris will get a look at Sal Romano, who's evened his record at 2-2. We've seen some flashes of what the Reds like about this big right-hander.
Had a nice conversation with Sal Romano that we're going to play tomorrow before tomorrow's game, and you know, a tech talk where I had him describe his delivery, what he's learned up here, what he needs to go forward with to become a little better major league pitcher. He's got a really good idea, Romano does. And plus a very good arm. I mean, he's averaging over 96 miles an hour on a fastball, but I think that the changeup that he recognizes that he needs to develop that pitch. So we'll see how it comes along tomorrow night when he takes the hill here.
You evaluate stuff. 3-2 to Yelich, leadoff batter here in the 7th, and there's Sal who pitch tomorrow, and that's part of evaluating a pitcher. But you also evaluate heart and the kind of approach he has to playing the game. And through high school into the minor leagues, he's been a bulldog, and you see that about him from the first time you watch him on the mound.
Well, it's okay to be a bulldog on the inside, but you don't necessarily have to overdo your effort on every pitch. And I think that's a hard thing for young pitchers, Robert Stevenson being one, Blake Wood being another, is to how do you find that right balance between effort level of your pitch and being able to control your pitch.
Joe Torre always used to say you got to be intense but not tense. It's a lot easier said than done, huh?
Well, you throw hard to get signed, and then you get hitters out to move up.
Still the bottom line.
I mean, if you win in the big leagues, they don't care. They don't care how hard you're throwing.
Line drive, pass Alcantara into left. That's a base hit. Yelich is on for the second time. Leadoff hitter on again here in the 7th. In between innings, this guy doesn't throw hard, but boy, he's done it tonight, and his night looks like it's done. O'Grady, 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, longest start of his major league career, and he's taken advantage of this second look at the Reds and handled them tonight. It looks like he'll exit with a 3-0 lead. Here's Osuna, robbed of extra bases on a diving catch by Duvall in the 1st, walked in the 3rd, and flied out to center in the 5th. Yelich, 8 stolen bases. Can't forget about him down there. Way out in front. You talk about big burly right-handers. Boy, did we see one yesterday in Severino. And you said you thought it might have been the best pitcher we've seen this year. And when I walked into the clubhouse after the game, Joe Girardi said that's the best he's pitched this year. So we saw him at his best.
Yeah.
He was something else.
Well, he certainly has some talent. I mean, he had a breaking ball that he had terrific control of, and anytime you match that up with a fastball as hard as he was throwing, which was like 98, it's pretty tough to do. Plus, he also worked in a changeup, had very good control yesterday. That was a short set of 2 games with the Reds. I think are kind of happy to get out of Yankee Stadium.
The Yankees have closed the gap, starting tonight only 1 game behind the Red Sox. And really, the Yankees struggle. They were 15 games over 500. It dropped to as few as 3 games over 500, and the Red Sox never took advantage of that to space themselves from New York. And the Yankees have gotten a little more healthy, and they bolstered their bullpen. There's the 1-2. That's down and in, 2-2. Got even 2-2. Yelich off first. Blake Wood delivering, swing and a miss, and a throw down to first. A little late. Strikeout for Wood of Osuna. His second strikeout, 1 away, and here comes Real Muto.
Now the pitchers will use that rosin bag because just to try to dry out some of the sweat and perspiration that drips down your hand. I mean, it's a controlled environment here. Yeah, it's cooler than it is outside, but it's still humid.
Real Muto has walked, flied out, and reached on an infield hit in the 5th.
I really don't understand why Major League Baseball wouldn't allow pitchers to go one step further and maybe get some kind of a sticky substance available so that they can grip the baseball. I mean, really, from a safety standpoint, the worst thing that could happen is a ball slip out of a guy's hand who's throwing 97 miles an hour because he can't get a grip on it. So you ask yourself, what's the difference between a little stickum and some rosin?
You know, I heard that same argument from Gaylord Perry up in Cooperstown once.
Okay, I'm caught.
And from Chris Welch. There goes Yelich throwing the dirt, and he'll have a stolen base. He picked the pocket of Wood that time. Yelich, 9th stolen base of the year. Why am I not surprised that suggestion would come from you?
Only for safety reasons.
Safety reasons. I got it. Count 2-0. Another runner in scoring position in this 3-0 ball game. That's on the inside corner for a strike. I was a little surprised by O'Grady's comments the other day in Cincinnati when he said he'd never pitched in that kind of heat and humidity, and he had never used the rosin bag before.
Well, he went to George Mason University in Virginia. So the last time I looked, it's pretty hot and humid down there. But that was his story, and he's sticking with it.
I mean, whether it's high school baseball to college baseball, the rosin bag's still sitting out there for everybody. 3-1 to Real Muto. And we'll go full.
Dangerous spot up there. You missed with that breaking ball. I don't know whether it was a slider or a splitter for Blake Wood. That's where Real Muto really likes it. He's having the best month of his year so far. Started off like a jungle fire early in the year with a .342 batting average. This month, though, his batting average is at .371. He's hit more home runs this month and driven in more than in any previous month as well.
Full count with one away. Yelich off second. And Barnhart and Wood will get together before they deliver this 3-2 pitch. Now you look around this Marlins lineup, Chris, even with the injuries they've had, and you pencil in the guys who, when they are healthy, it's a pretty good starting 8 they put out there.
Well, it is, especially when you consider some of the injuries that they've had. Their top shortstop, T.J. Riddle, young player that they really think very much of. And, of course, we've already talked about Justin Bour, their first baseman.
Good bounce back by Wood. Swing and a miss by Real Muto. Back-to-back strikeouts. 2 away. And here comes Dietrich, who's produced 2 of the 3 runs tonight. One with a homer, one with a bases-loaded walk. 2 for 3. Fastball foul back off the fist for strike 1.
Well, it was Dietrich that ran into a fastball off of Robert Stevenson in the 4th inning. Put the first run on the board in this entire ball game. Got a lot of movement, doesn't he? Hands moving, wrist cocking, back and forth on his feet.
This one looped into left. Will anybody get there? It will be a base hit and a run will score.
Tough break.
Good pitch, bad result. Alcantara went a long way to try to get there and just missed a last grasp at it, and the ball drops for a base hit. The 4th run scores.
Little jam job right there. That's why you're running all the time. Yelich comes around and 4-run game.
So 3 of the 4 runs batted in tonight belong to Derek Dietrich, and it's a 4-0 lead for Tampa Bay. And here's Moore. Base hit and a stolen base set the Marlins up with Yelich in the 7th, and Dietrich converts it. And here's Moore, who flied out, struck out in his sacrifice fly, knocked in the 3rd run in the 5th. $19,000 plus the paid crowd here tonight in Miami. Game started at an indoor temperature around 80, and the outdoor temperature was around 90. So thank you for the roof, huh? That's a swing and a miss. 3 strikeouts in the inning by Wood, but the base hit, the stolen base, and the bloop, and it's 4-0 Marlins. Trail in this one 4-0. Reds will come to bat in the 8th inning. New pitcher for the Miami Marlins. It's Junichi Tazawa, a longtime reliever for the Boston Red Sox. It'll be his 30th appearance here, Chris, and this is a bullpen of a lot of different names that the way the injury and trading bug has hit the Miami Marlins.
Oh, you're right. I mean, a lot of guys are, you know, their first year or so, second year with the Marlins, they've tried to put this team together to win this year. Tazawa was one that they acquired to do that. He's always been a late inning, high leverage pitcher for the Red Sox, but not a closer.
First pitch swinging by Eugenio Suarez, and there's a base hit for the Reds to lead off the 8th.
He's swinging the bat well. Suarez hit the ball very hard the first 2 times up. He's got a couple of hits to show for it. He did get caught looking for strike 3 in the 5th. But looking first pitch fastball, getting it in off the plate and being able to drive it into center field for a base knock.
Here comes Joey, flied out, walked, and hit by a pitch tonight. Tazawa, in his years in Boston, he was there for 5 years, from 2012 to 2016, one of the more used relievers in the American League during that period. A lot of mileage on the arm, and a guy who's been used in middle relief most of his career.
But he wasn't a pitcher that was used. He's not an older pitcher. I think he's still only like 29 years old or so. So when he came over, he was still a minor leaguer. Made his debut in 2009, but really didn't start pitching a lot of games until 2012.
Balls, 2 strikes to Joey. Real Muto sets up, down and away.
Tazawa's got one of those stretch, I guess, positions where he comes to stretch and then he moves and he moves and he moves a little bit more, and then he finally stops. And it's one thing that has somehow evolved in baseball, that more and more relievers are doing that, and it's effectively, you know, shut down the marginal running game.
This one dribbled past the first baseman into right. That'll get a runner on and a runner to third. So it's first and third for the Reds. Votto on for the 3rd time tonight, and Cincinnati trying to get something going here in the 8th. Here comes Adam Duvall.
Joey gets a pitch that's down and just kind of puts it on the ground, is able to find a hole past the first baseman right there. I'll tell you, the Marlins bullpen right now, late in the game, is no sure thing. They traded away David Phelps, very capable late inning reliever. I think he went to the Mariners, and they have just recently, I think today or yesterday, put their other short man out of the bullpen, Kyle Bearclaw, on the disabled list.
Well, here's Adam. Duvall walked, popped up, and doubled into the left field corner in the 5th. Votto was out trying to score from first on that play. Breaking ball, down and away.
I said that Tazawa was 29. He's actually 31 years old. Made his debut when he was 23 with the Red Sox. But you're right about him pitching a lot of games. What?
Reds trying to claw their way back into this one. It's a 1-1 to Adam Duvall. Swing and a miss, trying to go the other way with it. Tardy, and it's 1-2. Suarez single to center. He's at third. Joey single to right. He's sitting off first.
Tazawa is basically a two-pitch pitcher. I mean, he'll throw a curveball occasionally, but it's mainly fastball almost 60% of the time, and then about 1 every 4 pitches he'll throw that split finger fastball, and that's what he uses as his changeup. Fastball comes in at 93, 94. The splitter is about 87 or 88.
Double-barreled action, lefty-righty action in the bullpen for the Marlins, with Tazawa struggling here with the first 2 on.
That's their closer Ramos pitching the right-hander warming up. A lot of trade rumors surrounding him.
Phelps traded A.J. Ramos. A lot of interest in him in the last couple of weeks. 2-2. Popped up.
Boy,
high
did he just miss that.
And he slams the bat down. He knew he did. Pop up, first out of the 8th inning.
Yeah, this just goes to show you that if you make a pitching mistake, it doesn't always end up in the seats as a home run. Sometimes it ends up in the infield. That could have been just a little bit out of his comfort zone, the comfort zone of Duvall, that is, if chasing that pitch up a little bit. Can't take a chance, though, with 2 strikes.
So here comes Scooter. Hit one to the wall in the first with 2 on. Nice catch by Stanton to rob him of, at the very least, extra bases. Bounced out and struck out.
Happy the Marlins have the left-hander out of there.
If you joined us late, Chris O'Grady had 7 strong innings of no-run baseball. Second time facing the Reds in a week, and after going 5+ last week, 7 strong innings here. That's ripped into right. That'll get a run in. Votto will stop at second. Well, the Reds are on the board finally. Scooter's base hit gives Cincinnati its first run, and the deficit is now 3.
Well, both the hits by left-handers in this inning by Votto and then Scooter Gennett have come on that little splitter and designed to get a ground ball. Well, he puts it on the ground all right, but the same spot that Votto did, so he gets a base hit. And now the Reds have the tying run at the plate.
And here comes Schebler. 0 for 3, strikeout, pop up, ground out, with the pitcher spot due up next. No left-handers on the bench available for the Reds tonight. So Kivlehan, Turner, Cozart, who's really unavailable, and Devin Mesoraco. Mesoraco's out in the on-deck circle right now.
Well, Schebler's not hit a home run since the Reds were in Arizona on July the 7th. So I would say he is due and looking to drive on out of here. Tie this baby up.
Well, earlier in the year, Scott Schebler led all the major leagues in road home runs. That slowed during the month of July, but Harper and Stanton and Schebler still at the top of the list.
Now, the first thing you want to do when you're looking to drive a ball somewhere is get a good pitch to hit. That's Devin Mesoraco moving on to the on-deck circle. And he's liable to get a good pitch here on a 2-0 count. You don't want to walk the tying run, do you?
2 balls, no strikes. 2 on for the Reds. Hardy on it, pops it up left side. Dietrich over. Does he have room? He does, and he squeezes it second out. So Tazawa gets his second out, and that'll bring up Mesoraco will pinch hit in the pitcher spot. Hey, don't forget it's a Major League Baseball doubleheader Saturday, 1st at 4 on FS1. The Dodgers look to stay the hottest team in baseball when they take on the Giants. Then at 7, the Reds take on Giancarlo Stanton and the Marlins in a game you can see exclusively on FS1. MLB on FS1 starts Saturday at 4 Eastern. Double switch by Don Mattingly. Tazawa gets out number 2, and with Mesoraco announced, Mattingly will go to the bullpen, and while the pitching change takes place, we'll take time out for these messages. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Four runs, 7 hits, no errors. The Reds are 1 now, 8 hits and no errors here in the 8th. 3 base hits and a pop-up, 2 outs in the inning. Mike Aviles will come in to play third, a veteran infielder, and a double switch, and A.J. Ramos will come in to take over. Aviles will bat in the number 9 position. Ramos will bat in the number 6 position as Devin Mesoraco will try to even this one up with 1 swing of the bat. And you talk about being good against the team. Ramos has been nearly perfect against the Reds, Chris. He's been amazing.
Well, he's been very good overall. He saved 40 games last year and 43 chances. He's got 19 on the board already this year. You know, when you look at his stuff and break it down, you think, well, you know, it's not overpowering. He doesn't throw 100 miles an hour. He doesn't have a trick pitch. For the most part, he keeps the ball in the ballpark. He's had some control issues. Gets the job done, bottom line.
Breaking ball misses there, and it's 2-0. In his career against the Reds, 14 games, this is his 15th appearance. No earned runs. 5 saves.
Well, he's due then, too.
Impressive numbers against the men in red, and Mesoraco trying to spoil that leaderboard right here. And that's wide.
You green light Mesoraco right here?
Sure. Why not? And remember earlier in the year when the Reds seemingly would come back at least once or twice a week late. It took 3-0 and 2 strike hits to do it. And he's a veteran hitter. You figure he's smart enough to green light. 3-1. Otto off second, Scooter off first. Breaking ball locked him up, and it's 3-2.
It's a dandy of a breaking ball right there.
Wow.
A slow one. That was a 79-mile-an-hour. I would imagine you call it a curveball at that speed. Looked like it was going to hit Mesoraco and broke in there for a strike.
What you throw on 3-1? Do you throw on 3-2? Yes.
A little better prepared for it that time was Mesoraco. Had a good swing.
Mesoraco digs in against the right-hander from the stretch with 2 on for the Reds and 2 out here in the 8th. Ripped into left. That's a base hit. They'll hold Votto at third as Osuna charges, and the bases are loaded. Osuna playing relatively shallow.
Well, the ball hit very sharply, so it gets to the outfielder pronto. And Votto has already been thrown out once at the plate tonight. Billy Hatcher not taking another chance right there that this rally is going to backfire and end on that. So they're going to give Tucker Barnhart a chance here with bases loaded, tying run at first base.
4 hits in the inning. The Reds have 1 run to show for it. Tucker, who's already 1 for 3, trying to cash in a couple here. In his career, 1 grand slam. Facing Ramos. That breaking ball drops in for a strike. Tucker tonight bounced to short, solid single to center, and then a fly ball into the right field corner. Barnhart 0 for 2 in his career against Ramos. Wide for a ball. Reds have trailed early and often of late, trying to find a way to get back in this one and come up with one of the trademarks of the early part of the season, a comeback victory. That's another strike. 1 and 2.
All of a sudden Ramos seems to be throwing more quality pitches than he did either to Schebler or to Mesoraco.
Here's the 1-2 with 2 away. Dribble to the right side. It will stay fair, and they'll get the out at first. Now the Reds will strand 3. They've stranded 10 on the night through 8 and trail this one 4-1. Fridays at the ballpark. Friday on August the 4th. Cheer on the Reds when they take on the Cardinals for as low as $12. Plus, don't miss a spectacular post-game fireworks show presented by Tri-Health and a post-game concert featuring Flo Rida. For tickets, visit Reds.com. That's Friday, August the 4th at the new ballpark by the river in Cincinnati. 4 runs, only 7 hits for the Marlins, but the Reds early in this one, 8 walks in the first 7 innings. 7 of those walks, the gift of Robert Stevenson, who exited the game. And here's Wandy Peralta, who will take over. Storen got the final outs of the 5th inning. 2 innings of work by Blake Wood, and here's Wandy Peralta, 46th appearance, and the Reds continue to push into the 40s with most of their relievers in this 2017 season.
Well, that overuse, if we call it overuse, or the frequent use, has not hurt Peralta really much at all. He has thrown the ball exceptionally well, really right from the very beginning of spring training this year. You know, I would imagine, George, as these scouts come into town, with trading deadline at the end of the month here, just a few days away, and the 2 most coveted relievers may be the most untouchable relievers, with Raisel Iglesias and Wandy Peralta. I'm sure there's more than one scout out there that's thinking, man, we'd like to add that left-handed arm to our arsenal.
You know, and you talked about it earlier, Chris, when you add this up, you look at players with potential, but players you can control too. And every organization, as they rebuild, try to restock with players you can control. You want quality, but quality you can control. And enters into any trading discussion at this time of the year. Rojas tonight, 1 for 2. Foul down the right field line and out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Rojas will be followed by Aviles, who is hitting in the 9th spot. Then the top of the order, Dee Gordon. Defense been a part of this game. Rojas 2 fine plays at short. One a diving stop of a ground ball, the other a great relay throw that nailed Joey Votto trying to score. Looking ahead to the 9th. It's 9-1-2 due up for the Reds. Bounce down to second. Scooter has it bounce off his chest, and he won't get it there in time. And last hop exploded in front of him, so it was an error on the Reds second baseman, and there's a runner on.
Well, it was kind of mishit, and maybe it had some spin. I don't know. Scooter backs up on it in order to get the big bounce right there, but as soon as he drops it, Rojas is going to be safe.
So leadoff hitter on here in the 8th, and Aviles hitting in the 9th spot will have his first at bat, coming into the double switch last inning. He's the closest thing to Craig Counsell that we've got in Major League Baseball now, with his setup on his swing. Showing bunt, drops it down the first base line. Peralta shovels it to Votto. They'll get the out, but a successful sacrifice. So our IGS bringing the energy story of tonight. Talk about defense. How about Tucker Barnhart, Chris? 2 sweet throws, narrowing, nailing Dee Gordon.
Yeah, not just anybody, but Dee Gordon.
Can't do anything better than that.
I'll tell you what, man, I get fired up when I see that.
One of the best base stealers in the game, and it's the first time he's been caught twice in a game. He does have one stolen base, but caught twice by Barnhart tonight. So Rojas at second, one out, and here comes Gordon. Dee tonight walked, thrown out by Barnhart, reached on an infield hit and stole a base in the third, flied out in the fourth, singled in the sixth, but then thrown out again by Barnhart. So he's been on base 3 times, but twice erased by Tucker. The short Alcantara across to Votto, second out of the inning. The runner goes to third. And here comes Stanton. Giancarlo's walk tonight, struck out and flied out 0 for 2. After a monster night last night that included his 33rd home run of the season. 33 homers, 70 knocked in for the big guy, and they will walk him intentionally and deal with Yelich here. Lefty lefty. Yelich tonight flied out twice, walked, and then singled and stole a base in the 7th, and later scored on the base hit by Dietrich for the 4th run for the Marlins. And out comes Mac Jenkins to make sure everybody's on the same page. Interpretation courtesy of Eugenio Suarez. Dick Williams had to do that when you were pitching too, didn't he?
He said, if you don't do this, I'm going to send you down to the minor leagues. He didn't need a translator. And I imagine that that was a fairly simple message, but just to make sure that nothing is lost in the translation, you have Suarez, who speaks fluent English and Spanish. Do a little help right there. Tough hitter here in Yelich.
First and third, 2 away. Jumping ahead is Peralta with a strike. Locked them up on that one, and it's 0-2. Rojas reached on the error. He's sitting at third. Stanton walked over at first. Nice job by Peralta. The message clear in any language and executed by Peralta. Last round up for the Reds. Alcantara, Hamilton, Suarez due up. Guys back in the studio will be there for you. Reds Live pregame show presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing, there before every Reds game on Fox Sports Ohio. Jeff Pecoro, Brian Giesenslaw, and the crew will be there. And tomorrow you get a chance to see the big guys. Sal Romano Sunday against Miami, 6 innings, 3 hits, only 1 earned run and 7 strikeouts. He'll get the ball tomorrow, Chris. Looking forward to seeing him.
I am too, George. He's a very nice young man, a hard worker. I think he's beginning to understand what he needs to do to become successful consistently up here. But he'd love to take the mound after a Reds comeback win. They've got 3 outs to go, and they need 3 runs to tie.
Ramos, who got the final out of the last inning, here in the 9th, will face Alcantara hitting in the 9th spot. Then Hamilton, and then Suarez, top of the order. Alcantara pinch hit in the 7th, came in a double switch and hit for the first time in the 7th and struck out. He was the 5th and final strikeout victim of Chris O'Grady. O'Grady, the star tonight for the Miami Marlins. 7 innings of 5-hit, no-run baseball. Stands to be the winner. Ramos trying to close it out. 1 ball, 2 strikes to the Red shortstop. He just gets a piece to stay alive. Every team is different in this day and age, and we just left New York where the Yankees overshifted consistently against most of the Reds lineup. Marlins do it different. They do not overshift as much. They haven't under Don Mattingly. So they play him pretty much straight away here in the 9th. Swing and a miss. Alcantara's retired, first out of the 9th inning. And here's Billy. Well, in the personal battle tonight, and Dee Gordon and Billy Hamilton respect each other a lot and really kind of juice each other up, competitive speaking, with their running game. Dee Gordon's been on 3 times, but Barnhart's thrown him out 2 of the 3 times and 1 stolen base for him. Billy 0 for 4, 1 strikeout and 3 balls in the air. So the Miami pitchers have won the battle getting Billy to keep the ball off the ground tonight. Hamilton had his 4-game hit streak snapped last night, still hitting 10 of the last 12, trying to start a new streak here tonight, and more importantly get the Reds something cooking in the 9th. Suarez, then Votto, then Duvall due up. What? 2-1. A grass cutter down to second. Gordon takes care of it, and an 0 for 5 night for Billy Hamilton. So Ramos trying to close it out with a 4-out save, even though there was a 3-run deficit for the Reds. Is still a save situation as the Reds had loaded the bases in the 8th inning. Here's a Eugenio, singled, bounced out, struck out, and started that Reds rally in the 8th inning. That slapped the other way and out of play for strike 1, 1-1.
You know, George, you get the feeling when you get a quality closer on the mound like that, and you have that opportunity in the 8th inning. You have bases loaded. He gets behind a couple of hitters. You think this has got to be the time you take advantage of it, because if you give him another inning, chances are he's going to get his act together and be the A.J. Ramos that they're used to seeing out there.
He saved his best for the Reds. Cincinnati's never scored against him. Ramos to the stretch. Here's the 2-1. He went around 2-2. Hangs in. This one blooped into left. Osuna coming in, won't get there. It's a base hit for Suarez and a 3-hit night, 3 singles for Eugenio. And here comes Joey. Well, the Reds hanging in, still alive for their best hitter coming to the plate. Votto in his career success 4 for 7, 571 against Ramos. Joey tonight flied out, walked on a 3-2 pitch, hit by a pitch in the 5th, and singled to right in the 8th. They'll play behind Suarez at first, so he can take second at will if he wants to. He's going. No stolen base. Defensive indifference, and the Reds have a runner in scoring position for Joey. The 1-for-3 night for Votto tonight, 1-for-2 tonight. Gotten him back to the 300 level once again after the average had dipped down to 295 in New York. 2-1. Breaking ball low, and it's 3-1. And there's ball 4. So another night where Votto was on base 4 times, 1 hit, but 2 walks and hit by a pitch. And now the tying run in this 4-1 ball game will come to the plate, and it's Adam Duvall. Duvall walked, popped up. It would look like a run scoring double into the corner in the 5th, but a great relay from Osuna to Rojas to the plate nailed Votto. And he popped up in the 8th.
Well, Juan Nieves will walk out to the mound to try to cool down his closer a little bit. Probably doesn't have to do that very often.
Veteran Milwaukee starter, guy pitched a no-hitter for the Brew Crew back in the day. Solid tutor of young pitchers here in Florida. Well, here's Adam. His 3-run home run gave the Reds life in New York. His 21st of the year yesterday. Puts a jolt into this one. We got a brand new ball game. Great spot. And most of Ramos' best work in this inning plus save attempt has been with off speed.
Yeah, you're right. He's got that curveball really working.
Suarez off second, Votto off first from the stretch. Ramos got under it, and another one he just missed. Sky high in the infield. Who's going to take charge? Gordon will. He's got it, and that'll do it. So the Reds bring the tying run to the plate. Nothing to show for it, though. Ramos picks up another save against the Red, and he remains unblemished against Cincinnati for his career. And the Marlins have won Game 1 of the series by a final of 4-1. More to talk about when we return after these messages.